Welcome back, seekers of the supernatural and guardians of the goosebumps. If you've found your way here, it's likely that you share a fascination with the eerie and the inexplicable, the kind of stories that send shivers down your spine and leave you glancing over your shoulder long after the tale has ended. We are not just storytellers, we are explorers of the unknown, delving deep into the realms where history meets horror and reality blurs into the spectral. Today, we embark on the 6th episode of our chilling journey through the haunted landscapes of Oregon, a state renowned for its breathtaking beauty and equally compelling haunted legends. From the ghostly echoes in ancient lighthouses to the shadowy figures roaming venerable hotels, Oregon is a tapestry woven with tales of tragedy, mystery, and the supernatural. Each location carries its own dark story, steeped in history and whispered through the winds that sweep across this picturesque state. In this installment, Most Haunted Places in Oregon, Episode 6, we will traverse some of the most infamous sites that have captivated locals and visitors alike. These are not mere ghost stories, they are fragments of a past that refuses to be forgotten, beckoning us to explore their depths and perhaps confront our own fears. Are you ready? Let's dive into the heart of Oregon's haunted legacy. And remember, what you're about to discover may leave you questioning whether ghosts truly walk among us, or if they've been watching you all along. The ghosts of the Shanghai tunnels. Portland's subterranean secrets. Beneath the bustling streets of Portland lies a labyrinth of tunnels that whispers tales of despair, deception, and death. The infamous Shanghai tunnels, originally constructed in the mid-19th century as part of the city's underground infrastructure, these subterranean passageways were repurposed during the late 1800s to facilitate one of the darkest chapters in Oregon's history, the practice of Shanghaiing. This grim trade involved kidnapping unsuspecting men, often sailors, laborers, or drunk patrons from local saloons, and smuggling them through the tunnels to waiting ships bound for far-off ports. Many never returned, their fates sealed in the damp, suffocating darkness below ground. The tunnel's reputation as a haunt for the supernatural began to take shape in the early 20th century, when workers tasked with maintaining the underground network reported hearing faint cries and footsteps echoing through the corridors. Doors would slam shut without cause, and tools would vanish only to reappear in distant corners of the tunnels. Some claimed to see shadowy figures darting through the dim light of their lanterns, their movements too quick to follow before dissolving into the blackness. Over time, these accounts grew into local legends, with many believing the spirits of those who perished in the tunnels still linger, trapped between worlds. One of the most harrowing encounters occurred in the 1970s, when a group of urban explorers ventured into the tunnels armed with flashlights and courage. As they descended deeper into the maze, the air grew colder, and an oppressive silence enveloped them. Suddenly, one member of the group felt an icy hand grip his shoulder, though no one else was near. Panicked, he turned to see a gaunt, translucent figure staring back at him before vanishing into the wall. The group fled, leaving behind their equipment in their haste to escape. Since then, similar reports have surfaced, with visitors describing feelings of being watched, sudden drops in temperature, and disembodied voices pleading for help. Local historians speculate that the hauntings stem from the sheer brutality of the tunnel's past. Countless victims of Shanghaiing met violent ends, either murdered outright or left to die in the darkness after failed escape attempts. Others succumbed to illness or starvation, abandoned by their captors once they were no longer useful. With no proper records kept, it's likely that many bodies were never recovered, their remains entombed within the walls or buried beneath layers of debris. The spirits of these unfortunate souls, it is believed, remain tethered to the tunnels, unable, or unwilling, to leave the place where their lives were stolen. Despite, or perhaps because of, its sinister reputation, the Shanghai tunnels continue to draw thrill-seekers and paranormal investigators eager to test their courage against the unknown. Guided tours occasionally venture into the safer sections of the tunnels, offering participants a glimpse into its haunted history. However, few dare to explore the uncharted areas, where the darkness seems alive and the air vibrates with an eerie energy. Those who do often emerge shaken, their flashlights drained and their nerves frayed, vowing never to return. For those brave enough to descend into its depths, the Shanghai tunnels offer more than just a brush with the supernatural. They serve as a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty and resilience. The tunnels are a tombstone for the forgotten, a place where the echoes of the past refuse to fade. And as long as the city of Portland towers above, oblivious to the haunted world beneath its feet, the spirits of the Shanghai tunnels will continue to roam, their voices crying out from the shadows, desperate to be heard. The enigmatic echoes of Heceta Head Lighthouse, beacons from beyond perched dramatically atop a rugged cliff along Oregon's windswept coastline. The Heceta Head Lighthouse stands as a sentinel against the relentless fury of the Pacific Ocean. First lit in 1894, this iconic structure has guided countless sailors safely to shore, its beam cutting through the dense fog and stormy nights that define this untamed stretch of shoreline. But beyond its practical purpose, the lighthouse harbors a spectral secret, one that has earned it the title of one of the most haunted places in Oregon. For over a century, visitors and keepers alike have reported eerie encounters with ghostly phenomena, suggesting that something otherworldly resides within its walls. The haunting lore of Heceta Head begins with the legend of Rue, a name whispered in hushed tones by those familiar with the lighthouse's history. According to local folklore, Rue was the wife of one of the original lighthouse keepers, a woman whose life ended tragically under mysterious circumstances. Some versions of the tale claimed she fell ill and died in the keeper's house, her body laid to rest in a nearby cemetery. Others suggest she took her own life, unable to endure the isolation and harsh conditions of life on the remote headland. Whatever the truth, Rue's spirit is said to remain tethered to the lighthouse, forever bound to the place she once called home. Visitors to the site often recount unsettling experiences linked to Rue's presence. One of the most common reports involves sightings of a translucent figure dressed in Victorian-era clothing, believed to be Rue herself. She has been spotted wandering the halls of the keeper's house, her movements slow and deliberate, as if performing tasks long abandoned. On occasion, guests staying overnight in the converted bed and breakfast claim to wake in the middle of the night to find her standing silently at the foot of their bed, her expression unreadable before she fades into nothingness. Other encounters defy explanation altogether. Many have described hearing the sound of footsteps pacing the wooden floors above or below them, despite knowing they are alone in the building. Objects reportedly move on their own, a book falling from a shelf, a chair scraping across the floor, as if manipulated by unseen hands. One particularly chilling account comes from a tour guide who claimed to have felt a cold breeze rush past her while locking up for the night, followed by the distinct sensation of fingers brushing against her arm. When she turned, no one was there. The lighthouse itself seems to amplify these supernatural occurrences. At night, when the powerful Fresnel lens casts its beam across the ocean, some visitors swear they see shadowy figures standing at the edge of the light, gazing out toward the horizon. Others describe hearing faint whispers carried on the wind, voices speaking in languages they cannot understand. Even the surrounding forest, dense with towering trees and thick underbrush, appears to hold secrets of its own. Campers and hikers exploring the area near the lighthouse have reported seeing glowing orbs floating among the trees or hearing disembodied laughter echoing through the woods. Skeptics have attempted to rationalize these phenomena, attributing them to natural causes such as shifting foundations, electromagnetic interference, or psychological suggestion. Yet none of these explanations fully account for the consistency and specificity of the reports. Local paranormal investigators conducting overnight studies have captured intriguing footage and audio clips, including EVP recordings of a woman's voice softly calling out names and thermal images showing humanoid shapes moving through walls. While conclusive evidence remains elusive, the cumulative weight of these accounts lends credence to the belief that Heceta Head is indeed haunted. What makes the Heceta Head Lighthouse particularly compelling is its dual identity as both a functional beacon and a vessel of mystery. By day, it draws tourists eager to marvel at its engineering and breathtaking views. By night, however, it transforms into a realm of uncertainty, where the line between the living and the dead blurs into shadow. Whether Rue truly haunts its halls or the lighthouse channels residual energy from its storied past, one thing is certain: those who visit leave with more than just photographs and souvenirs. They carry with them the lingering impression of having brushed against the supernatural. To stand beneath the watchful gaze of Heceta Head is to confront the enduring power of place and memory. Its beams may guide ships to safety, but its shadows seem to beckon curious souls to delve deeper into its mysteries. For those brave enough to heed the call, the lighthouse promises an unforgettable encounter with the unknown, an experience that reminds us that even the brightest lights can cast the deepest shadows. The cursed ground of Terwilliger Plaza echoes from the underground deep beneath the bustling streets of downtown Portland lies a forgotten world, a labyrinthine network of tunnels and basements collectively known as Terwilliger Plaza. Originally constructed in the early 20th century to house utility lines and storage facilities, this subterranean maze has earned a reputation as one of the most haunted places in Oregon. What was once a utilitarian space has since become a chilling repository of spectral energy, where the past refuses to stay buried and the air hums with an unsettling tension. The first documented reports of paranormal activity in Terwilliger Plaza date back to the 1950s, when maintenance workers tasked with inspecting the tunnels began experiencing unexplainable phenomena. Tools would vanish from their hands only to reappear in distant corners of the tunnels, while disembodied whispers echoed through the cavernous spaces, despite no one else being present. One worker claimed to have seen a gaunt figure clad in tattered clothing staring at him from the shadows before melting into the wall. Terrified, he fled the tunnels and refused to return, swearing he had encountered the spirit of a man who died alone in the depths during the Great Depression. As word of these encounters spread, urban explorers and paranormal enthusiasts began venturing into the tunnels, drawn by the promise of uncovering its spectral secrets. Their findings only deepened the mystery. Visitors have reported feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they descend into the tunnels, as though the very air is thick with sorrow. Cold spots materialize without warning, sending shivers down spines even on sweltering summer nights. Some claim to hear faint cries and sobs emanating from the darkness, voices pleading for help or forgiveness. Others describe seeing shadowy figures darting through the corridors, their movements too quick to follow, vanishing as suddenly as they appear. Perhaps the most harrowing accounts come from those who have ventured into the deepest recesses of the tunnels, where the air grows damp and the silence becomes suffocating. Here, amidst crumbling brickwork and rusted pipes, explorers have reported encountering what they describe as presence entities, intangible forces that seem to observe and interact with intruders. One group of investigators claimed to have captured EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, recordings of a voice whispering, "Leave me!" followed by the sound of heavy breathing. Another recounted feeling an invisible hand grip their wrist, pulling them backward as if trying to drag them deeper into the tunnels. Local historians speculate that the hauntings stem from the tunnel's grim past. During the Great Depression, hundreds of destitute individuals sought refuge in the underground chambers, many succumbing to starvation, illness, or violence. With no proper records kept, it's likely that some bodies were never recovered, their remains entombed within the walls or buried beneath layers of debris. The tunnels also served as a hideout for criminals and vagrants, leading to tales of murders and disappearances that were never solved. It's believed that the spirits of these unfortunate souls remain trapped in the tunnels, unable, or unwilling, to leave the place where their lives ended in misery. Despite, or perhaps because of, its sinister reputation, Terwilliger Plaza continues to draw thrill-seekers and paranormal investigators eager to test their courage against the unknown. Guided tours occasionally venture into the safer sections of the tunnels, offering participants a glimpse into its haunted history. However, few dare to explore the uncharted areas, where the darkness seems alive and the air vibrates with an eerie energy. Those who do often emerge shaken, their flashlights drained and their nerves frayed, vowing never to return. For those brave enough to descend into its depths, Terwilliger Plaza offers more than just a brush with the supernatural. It serves as a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for suffering and resilience. The tunnels are a tombstone for the forgotten, a place where the echoes of the past refuse to fade. And as long as the city of Portland towers above, oblivious to the haunted world beneath its feet, the spirits of Terwilliger Plaza will continue to roam, their voices crying out from the shadows, desperate to be heard. The chilling curse of Dead Man's Pass, a road shrouded in mystery on the outskirts of Salem, Oregon, lies a stretch of rural highway cloaked in legend and fear, Dead Man's Pass. This winding ribbon of asphalt cuts through dense evergreen forests and rolling hills, its sharp turns earning it a reputation as one of the most dangerous roads in the region. But the danger here extends far beyond reckless drivers and blind curves. For generations, travelers have reported eerie encounters along this desolate stretch, suggesting that something otherworldly stalks the shadows of Dead Man's Pass. The origins of the road's ominous moniker are shrouded in mystery, though local lore points to a series of grisly accidents that occurred during the early 20th century. According to one widely told tale, a stagecoach carrying gold miners returning from the nearby mountains overturned on a particularly treacherous bend, killing all aboard. Witnesses claim to have seen the ghostly figures of the miners wandering the roadside in the weeks following the crash, their translucent forms illuminated by the moonlight filtering through the trees. Though the sightings eventually faded, the name Dead Man's Pass stuck, serving as a grim reminder of the tragedy that befell the ill-fated travelers. Decades later, new reports of paranormal activity began to surface, reigniting fears of the road's haunted reputation. Drivers traveling at night describe a recurring phenomenon: the sudden appearance of a pale, faceless hitchhiker standing on the shoulder of the road. Those who stop to offer assistance claim the figure vanishes without a trace as soon as they roll down their window or step out of their vehicle. Others report hearing faint laughter echoing through the trees, a sound that seems to follow them until they leave the pass behind. Some even swear they've felt an icy hand brushing against their arm while driving solo, as though an unseen passenger has climbed into their car. More chilling are the accounts of mechanical failures experienced by motorists along Dead Man's Pass. Engines stall inexplicably, headlights flicker and die, and GPS devices lose signal, all without any apparent cause. A group of teenagers once shared a harrowing tale of their car breaking down in the middle of the pass late at night. As they waited for help, they noticed shadowy figures emerging from the woods, their movements jerky and unnatural. Panicked, the teens locked their doors and honked their horn until the figures retreated into the darkness. When a tow truck finally arrived, the driver found no signs of tampering with the vehicle, leaving the teens convinced they had narrowly escaped something sinister. Local residents have their own theories about the source of the hauntings. Some believe the pass is cursed, its malevolent energy stemming from the violent deaths that have occurred there over the years. Others point to Native American legends, claiming the land was once a burial ground disturbed by the construction of the road. According to these tales, the spirits of those interred beneath the earth rise to haunt trespassers, seeking vengeance for the desecration of their resting place. Despite, or perhaps because of, these terrifying accounts, Dead Man's Pass remains a magnet for thrill-seekers and paranormal investigators alike. Groups armed with cameras and recording equipment regularly venture onto the road after sunset, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. Footage captured by some teams appears to show orbs of light hovering near the tree line, while audio recordings reveal faint whispers and unexplained knocking sounds. Skeptics dismiss these findings as hoaxes or environmental anomalies, but for those who have witnessed the pass's haunting firsthand, the evidence feels irrefutable. For the brave souls who dare to drive its winding path, Dead Man's Pass offers more than just a test of nerve. It serves as a portal to the unknown, where the boundary between the living and the dead blurs into shadow. The road's dark history and persistent legends remind us that some places carry scars too deep to heal, their tragedies etched into the very fabric of the earth. And as long as the pass twists through the Oregon wilderness, its ghosts will continue to haunt the edges of reality, whispering warnings to those who dare to tread too close. The haunting legacy of Wolf Creek Inn. Spirits of the past nestled along the banks of Wolf Creek in the serene countryside of southwestern Oregon. The Wolf Creek Inn stands as a relic of pioneer hospitality and timeless charm. Built in 1883, this rustic inn has welcomed travelers, settlers, and even notable figures like Clark Gable and Carol Lombard during their heyday. Its weathered wooden exterior and cozy interiors evoke a sense of nostalgia, transporting visitors to a bygone era. Yet beneath its quaint facade lies a tapestry of haunting tales that have intrigued and terrified those who dare to spend a night within its walls. Known locally as one of the most haunted places in Oregon, the inn's reputation as a haunted haven stems from its long and storied past. Over the decades, numerous guests and staff members have reported eerie encounters with ghostly apparitions believed to be former patrons and employees who met untimely ends within the inn's confines. Among the most frequently cited spirits is that of a young woman named Sarah, whose tragic love story has become a cornerstone of the inn's haunting lore. According to legend, Sarah was a waitress at the inn during the early 20th century, deeply in love with a traveling salesman who promised to marry her. When he abruptly disappeared without explanation, Sarah's heartbreak drove her to take her own life in room 6. Today, visitors staying in this room often report feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness and hearing faint sobs emanating from the corner of the room. Some claim to have seen the spectral image of a woman in a tattered dress standing by the window, her sorrowful gaze fixed on the horizon as if waiting for a lover who will never return. Equally chilling is the tale of Jack, a former innkeeper whose spirit is said to roam the main dining hall and kitchen areas. Jack's ghost is often blamed for the mischievous antics reported by staff members, pots and pans clanging together, drawers opening and closing on their own, and the smell of freshly baked bread wafting through the air despite no one being present. Employees recount instances of feeling an icy draft sweep through the room, accompanied by the sound of heavy boots stomping across the floorboards. One cook claimed to have seen a burly man in suspenders glaring at him from the doorway before vanishing into thin air. Locals believe Jack's restless spirit remains tied to the inn, ensuring that operations run smoothly even in death. The basement of the Wolf Creek Inn holds its own share of horrors. Once used as a storage area for supplies and provisions, it is rumored to be haunted by the spirits of Native Americans who once inhabited the land before settlers arrived. Visitors brave enough to venture down there speak of hearing distant chanting and the rhythmic beating of drums, transporting them back to a time when the creek ran freely and the land was sacred. Others described seeing shadowy figures crouched around an invisible fire, their forms flickering like candlelight before dissipating into the darkness. These haunting narratives attract a myriad of visitors, each seeking their own brush with the supernatural. Paranormal investigators equipped with EMF detectors and infrared cameras regularly conduct overnight vigils, hoping to capture undeniable evidence of the inn's ghostly inhabitants. Footage captured by some teams appears to show orbs of light hovering near antique furnishings, while audio recordings reveal faint whispers and unexplained knocking sounds. Meanwhile, curious tourists book stays specifically in the rooms reputed to be the most active, eager to experience firsthand the chilling ambience that permeates the air. The Wolf Creek Inn thus serves as a fascinating intersection of history and horror, where the echoes of the past refuse to fade. It invites intrepid souls to delve into its shadowy corridors, daring them to uncover the truths hidden within its haunted halls. For those willing to confront the unknown, the Wolf Creek Inn promises an unforgettable encounter with the spirits of yesteryear, making it a quintessential stop on any haunted journey through Oregon. The phantom lights of Marfa, dancing flames in the desert deep in the vast expanse of West Texas, where the horizon stretches endlessly and the stars burn brighter than anywhere else, lies one of the state's most enduring mysteries. The Marfa Lights. For over a century, these ethereal glowing orbs have danced across the desert skies, defying explanation and captivating the imaginations of locals and travelers alike. Seen most often at night along Highway 90 near Marfa, these ghostly lights appear to hover, flicker, and dart erratically, sometimes vanishing altogether only to reappear moments later in a different location. To witness them is to stand on the edge of wonder and terror, unsure whether you're beholding a natural phenomenon or something far more otherworldly. The earliest documented account of the Marfa Lights dates back to 1883, when a rancher named Robert Reed Ellison claimed to have spotted the strange glows while driving cattle through the region. He initially thought they were Apache campfires, but upon investigation, no trace of human activity could be found. Over the decades, countless others have reported similar sightings, each describing the lights with slight variations. Some see them as small, steady flames floating silently above the ground, while others describe erratic bursts of color shifting between red, orange, yellow, and white. What remains consistent, however, is the sense of unease that accompanies their appearance. Scientists and skeptics have proposed numerous theories to explain the phenomenon. Some suggest the lights are caused by atmospheric conditions, such as the refraction of car headlights or distant city lights bending through layers of warm and cool air. Others attribute them to geological activity, positing that gases escaping from underground fissures could ignite and create glowing plumes. Yet none of these explanations fully account for the light's unpredictable behavior or their apparent ability to move independently of any discernible source. For many, the scientific hypotheses fall short, leaving room for more supernatural interpretations. Local folklore tells of a tragic love story involving a young Comanche warrior and his bride-to-be, who were separated by betrayal and ultimately killed in the desert. According to legend, the lights are the spirits of the ill-fated lovers, eternally searching for each other in the twilight. Another tale speaks of Spanish conquistadors who wandered the desert centuries ago, their lanterns now reduced to spectral remnants that guide lost souls, or perhaps lure unsuspecting wanderers into peril. Modern witnesses add their own chilling accounts to the growing lore. A group of tourists visiting the Marfa Lights viewing area described seeing a particularly large orb descend rapidly toward their vehicle before stopping abruptly just feet away. The light pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat, before vanishing into thin air. When shown to local paranormal experts, the footage sparked debate about whether the apparition could be the spirit of James Bowie, one of the Alamo's fallen defenders, eternally guarding the sacred space where he met his end. Even more disturbing are the accounts of physical interactions with unseen forces. A group of college students on a field trip reported being shoved forcefully while standing near the Long Barrack, the site of some of the fiercest fighting during the siege. One student fell to the ground, scraping her knee, while another swore he felt icy fingers gripping his arm. Both incidents occurred without any visible cause, leaving the group shaken and unwilling to linger longer than necessary. Local legend ties these hauntings to the sheer scale of violence that unfolded at the Alamo. On March 6, 1836, nearly 200 Texan defenders were slaughtered by Mexican forces under General Santa Anna. Many believe the souls of those who perished remained trapped within the Alamo's walls, unable, or unwilling, to move on. Some say the spirits are bound by unfinished business, perhaps seeking justice for the massacre or yearning to reunite with loved ones lost to the chaos of war. Others claim the land itself is cursed, imbued with the suffering of countless lives extinguished in its soil. And so, dear viewers and fearless explorers, we arrive at the end of our journey through the haunted heart of Oregon, a journey that has taken us from the blood-soaked grounds of the Shanghai tunnels to the ghostly corridors of the Wolf Creek Inn, from the spectral lights of Hasetta Head Lighthouse to the shadowy depths of Terwilliger Plaza. Along the way, we've uncovered stories of tragedy, resilience, and the unshakable persistence of the past. These haunted places are more than relics of history. They are portals to the unknown, reminders that the echoes of yesterday still reach out to touch us today. But this isn't the end, it's merely the beginning of your own adventure. The spirits of Oregon are waiting, and they have much more to reveal to those brave enough to listen. Whether you're planning a road trip to Dead Man's Pass, booking a stay at the Wolf Creek Inn, or simply diving deeper into the lore of these haunted landmarks, remember that the true magic lies in your willingness to explore. Keep your flashlight handy, your mind open, and your courage steady, because you never know what might be watching from the shadows. If you've enjoyed this journey into the supernatural side of Oregon, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss our next deep dive into the eerie and unexplained. Share this video/article with fellow thrill seekers, leave your thoughts in the comments, and tell us, which haunted place would you most like to visit, or avoid at all costs? Your engagement fuels our passion for storytelling, and we're grateful to have you as part of this community of curious minds and brave hearts. Until next time, keep chasing the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil. After all, the ghosts of Oregon are always watching, and sometimes, they're closer than you think. Stay spooky, stay curious, and remember, the unknown is calling. Will you answer?